I'm Tweeter Williamson. I would like to talk today about the Safety Rewards Program at the International Paper Company's Texarkana Mill. Today I'm going to talk about three main topics. I'd like to cover first, history of the Safety Rewards Program. Number two, the changes, when we made changes to the program and why we made changes. And number three, where we are today. On the history, really the safety program in the 70s, 80s, and 90s at the Texarkana Mill was non-existent. There wasn't a safety program, a reward program. They wanted you to be safe. The company wanted you to be safe. The support just wasn't there. Actually, production came first. Safety was kind of an afterthought. There wasn't a lot of structure. There wasn't a lot of policies and procedures. We had a high TIR. TIR stands for total incident rate. That's a OSHA standard that companies use to gauge their safety performance at their facility. It's a mathematical equation that takes into account the number of safe work hours and the number of recordable incidents. Our TIR was extremely high. I can remember being in double digits, 10, 12, 13. I was so excited when we got it into single digits. As a matter of fact, the company, when we got it down to a 5.0, they gave us all t-shirts that said, "Reaching 5 to stay alive." Some of you may remember that. I think Nancy still has my t-shirt. In the changes to the program, the Partners program was introduced in the year 2000. Partners is a behavioral-based program based on observations. And if you look at the flip chart, the Partners is an acronym which stands for People Accepting Responsibility to Neutralize Errors Regarding Safety. At that time, it was kind of a novelty. No one really took it serious. It was kind of like it was the flavor of the month. In 2002, a new mill manager came to the mill. His name was Kirk Cuevas. Some of you may remember him. Came from Pineville, Louisiana. They had an extremely efficient run mill, and it was a safe mill. He brought that to the Texarkana Mill, and the following year in 2003, he formed the safety support team. One of the tasks of the safety support team was to reintroduce the Partners cards. We were mostly tasked with trying to help turn the safety around to where it would be efficient, our TIR number would come down, and Kurt was very instrumental in getting that started. The Partners program, like I said before, is a behavior-based observation program where you have set criteria and you go out into the mill and you observe your team member performing their job tasks. This set criteria, you'll look at different things such as PPE, the tools they use, the housekeeping, and you will score those safe or at risk. At the end of that observation, you give feedback to that team member. It can be positive feedback as well as negative feedback. The feedback in turn helps that team member, helps that worker to become more aware of his behavior as he or she goes about their job tasks. And in a slow process, it changes the culture, the behavior of our team members at the Texarkana Mill. We also reached some milestones during the implementation of these Partners cards. This is when actually the birth of the safety awards was given. We had quarterly drawings. If you participated in the Partners cards, your name was put into a drawing for gifts and prizes. We had year-end drawings for grand prizes. If the crew participated and was 100%, we fed them steak or fish dinners of their choice periodically. We reached 1 million safe work hours. We received gifts, things such as ice chest, jackets, umbrellas, a lot of different items like that. We achieved 2 million safe man hours. It had never been done at the mill before. We went all the way and achieved 3 million safe work hours, which is really our target that we have set now. Currently, we're around 900,000 safe work hours, so we're nearing that milestone of 1 million safe work hours. Today, based on the feedback from our crew members, we've gone to individual recognition. Some of the feedback was, well, if you do a drawing, it's kind of a chance of me earning a reward or recognition for being safe or for participating in the behavior-based safety observation program. So we heard the feedback. The company made changes to go to individual recognition. We also asked for quality partner cards, not just quantity. We want those cards done correctly. We want to give good feedback to the team members. And right now with the individual recognition, we have a catalog. As you fill out partners cards, you can earn points, and as you can redeem those points in today's catalog that we have for you available now. And I think the people like that individual recognition, the individual reward system. So we think it's going to be a good thing there. I would like to show, I've given each one of you a handout. I'd like to go over that handout for just a moment. Our TIR is what we're talking about, that we gauge our meal safety. If you look at the first blue bar graph in 2005, you see our TIR at the end of the year was below a 1. It was 0.90. Great TIR there. You'll see in 2006, we stumbled just a little bit and increased our TR to almost to a 1.4, not as good as we'd like to be. In 2007, you see the blue bar that's almost to a 1. We had a pretty successful year last year, and our current TIR is 0.40, or a little bit less than that. The next slide is our incidence cumulative for the year. If you look at 2005, which is the dark blue graph, we had total number of incidents at 62. In 2006 is the orange line, 64. Those are comparable years. In 2007, we made a pretty good change. We only had 55 incidents. And you can barely see the 2008, what we have so far. It's a light blue line, and you can see the numbers are in black. They're 7, 12, 17, and for April, we've only had 2 incidents, so that's a total of 19. The last slide that I'd like to leave you with is the Texarkana, is the International Paper Company's safety slogan for the year. It says Safety 2008 for me and my family. There's no 2 better reasons to work safe than for me and my family. Thank you. I'll entertain any questions now. Yes, sir.
Is there a way I can keep track of my individual points that's building up?
Yes, you can. There's a website that you can go to, Jimmy, and they post those points a few days after the beginning of the month. You'll have a sign-on, log-on name and password. You can go in there and see how many points you have accumulated year to date. Yes, sir.
How many points can you accumulate in a year?
You can actually accumulate 144 points in a year. You can accumulate 12 per month, and for 12 months would be 144 points. Yes, sir.
Is there an expiration date as far as redeeming your points, or can you just roll them over?
No, there's not an expiration date. You can carry the points over from month to month and accumulate a larger number. The more points you have, the better gift you can redeem out of the catalog. John?
Yes. Is it possible for Texarkana Mill to achieve a 0 TIR? And is there any other mills that do have a 0 TIR?
It can be achieved. We have one recordable year to date. That's why our TIR is a little bit below 0.40. All you have to do is not have a recordable. I think the Vicksburg mill at one time had gone a year or two without a recordable, and their TIR was at 0. So it is achievable. There's other mills. I think the Bastrop mill is another one that at one time had a TIR of 0. So it is achievable, and we can see the trend going down from year to year. It's going in the right direction. Larry?
Can we see a difference, or has there been a notable difference since this incentive program started with the number of incidents or the number of cards being turned in?
I think the number of cards has increased, but what's better than that, the percent has increased. If you remember at the end of last year or the middle to the end of last year, our percents were probably in the 50s. We're in the upper 60s, really pushing 70%, sometime in the low 70s. So while the cards have increased, so has the percent of participation. Jimmy? Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Larry Booth. I appreciate you being here today for this safety presentation. I'm a member of the safety support team myself. I've been involved with safety at the mill since around 2000. I'm a married person, this time second marriage. My first wife died with cancer. I'm a cancer survivor myself, so I have a commitment to health and safety of each and every individual. So you will note my compassion for the safety and well-being of others. The purpose of our being here today is to better understand the mill policies and the commitment so that we can follow through on these possibilities that I'm going to list here for you. And you have listed there on the handout that I have given 4 bullet points there before you. So our intention is to fully comply with the Texarkana Mill safety rules, policies, and procedures. Now, we have that commitment there in front of you, where those bullet points come from. And I'll share with you what it says there on the beginning is part of our commitment. The safety of each employee is the top priority at the Texarkana Mill. Every Texarkana Mill team member must understand this commitment and their responsibility and accountability for the prevention of accidents and injuries. And so this is where we build from. The first point there is given to fully comply with Texarkana Mill rules, policies, and procedures. You also have before you the personal safety expectations. And this is, I'll share a point or two with you from that. The purpose of it and the scope, it says let's look at the scope. The policy applies to Texarkana Mill employees, temporary mill employees, and contract employees supervised by an international paper employee. So anybody that comes into the mill follows the same rules and regulations that we ourselves are committed to. That would ensure their safety and well-being as well. We expect to have 0 incidents. We have that within our control by enacting different policies and procedures that would protect an individual after a hazard analysis has been performed on any job that they may be involved with. And we have active programs and people involved with this, like the number 6 point there on that personal safety expectation. We have safety advisory committees, we have observation programs and processes, department safety committees, and really, after we do these analyses, we come up with resolutions to prevent the injury of individuals coming into the mill. And then you look at that next bullet point on the first sheet that you have, develop and implement an effective work system that will achieve an accident-free environment. So what do we do for that? Well, that third page you have, final on your handout, is the pre-job safety checklist. We provide an individual with this checklist before they go out on the job. We make this available to them so they can check off and be aware and conscious of the many hazards that we may know of. And while they do this, it also gives them an opportunity to check off things that may not even be on the list, that may be specific to the job that they have. And that will help us to make up other SOPs and BJAs that would prevent injury on any repeated jobs. And then finally on our list of the fourth thing that shows on the first sheet that I gave you, we have an ongoing process here to provide the necessary training to employees that come within the mill to ensure and inform them of any known hazard, the safe procedures, and the proper use of safety equipment. Now, take that training. We have an ongoing training. Everybody that comes into the mill will have a formal orientation. And this formal orientation gets them involved and known about the known hazards and our expectations in the mill. Now, for mill employees that are going to be there, that on our roster for continuous employment, have an ongoing training. There are so many things we check off throughout the year. We have things like bloodborne pathogens. We have many others, not just one of them, a bloodborne pathogen. We got hydrogen sulfide. These are some of the known things that we have at the mill, so we familiarize each individual with these things, help them to appreciate and know what to do should they come in contact with any of these known things that we have. We have PPE, which is a major factor in our safety performance at the mill. We provide personal protective equipment for each and every individual, and not only just provide these things, we show them how to use them. Just take, for instance, a simple thing like an earplug. You would think an individual would know how to use the earplug. Well, that may be the case. And when we go through this training, we're not trying to minimize the person's intelligence. But if we offer a person a particular PPE, or part of a PPE, it's our responsibility to show them how to use that, though they won't do it incorrectly. Like the earplug we mentioned. Suppose the person takes this earplug and inserts it too far into his ear canal, and then he has an ear problem. So he can say, well, you didn't show me how to use that. You didn't tell me how far to do that. So that's not trying to minimize the person's intelligence, but we want to be sure that they understand these things to prevent even the minutest of an injury. These are just a few of the things that vehicles we have to get us to what we are anticipating and wanting and know that is achievable. That's a zero incident workplace, an incident-free, not a work-free. We want you to work, but an incident-free workplace. Thank you for listening, and if you got any questions, I'll entertain those. Yes, Jimmy.
We just train them when we hire them?
No, it's an ongoing process. We have weekly toolbox meeting. We have weekly meetings for a crew, not only just a daily toolbox, but a weekly and monthly structured safety meeting where we go over points and things that may have happened through the week. We go over the things that we are mandated to do, not only by the company's commitment, but also by OSHA. Yes, Vance?
Larry, you alluded to the fact of injuries now. Let's say in case there are injuries or first aid, are we equipped at the mill to accommodate those personnel that may have been injured?
Yes, we have an in-house health services department. We have trained nurses and we have medics, MERT team individuals that can assist anybody with a minor injury and sometimes even major injuries. And then we also have a transport system that we can carry that individual to the hospital where they can get the needed help if we can't provide that.
Thank you.
Yes, are those pre-job checklists readily made readily available to the employees?
Yes, they are. For each work order assignment that goes out in many of the areas that have already enacted this, and we're trying to get it to go mill-wide, you get this pre-job checklist with you when you get your work order assignment. And you go to this job and you check these things off. Is this here, whatever that may cause injury.
Do we have designated trainers to train these folks, or just train them in the safety needs?
Yes, we do. We have a safe support team, which I'm a part of. We are very instrumental in training the individuals that come into the mill. And then, too, we have our process managers go through these same meetings that these guys, the mill hands, go through, and they, in turn, help structure and set up safety meetings for the crew so that they would readily recognize any hazards that may have. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jimmy Norwood, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to you about the need for crew participation in our Safety Partners Program. Due to the high rate of injuries, the company came to the union and said, hey, we need some help on this program. And said, this is a mill-wide safety program, and we need everybody involved in it mill-wide. So with a basic idea, and with a dedicated team made up of 9 members mill-wide from each department, the Partners Program was founded and started September 2000 with 9 members. The partners' letters in the card stand for people accepting responsibility to neutralize errors regarding safety. We'll do, on the focus part of it, then we started hearing the phrases buddy system, it takes two, look out for each other, became the focus, and that was the word throughout the meal. First of all, to get the results they needed, it had to be strictly voluntary. And then they needed a way to observe and keep records, and that's where the partners cards came in, and we'll talk a little bit about more about that later. The program actually got the observer where the job was actually happening. You actually went out on the job, you actually observed the jobs being done. And also at the same time, if there's anything going on that was unsafe, you would stop the job and explain to the person you're observing why you stopped the job or what he was doing wrong. But at the same time, if it was good, you always communicated with him and told him, hey, good job, and I observed you and it was good, and we're going to turn in a card on it. And also to keep it from the name part of it, the observer signs his name, but you never give the name of the one you observe, and that's always kept confidential. So in 2000, September 2000, the first partner card came on. The first partner card looked like this. We have some, matter of fact, we have some members in here today that were the original partners card team. And basically it was just a card on the front that said, friends don't let friends get hurt. And it gave the acronym for observe. And then on the back, all it had was observer's name, the ID number, and observer behavior. So then this was the kickoff. This was original, but they didn't give them the information they needed. So they did, pretty quick, they did an upgrade. The upgrade was to the new card, and you see it grew quite a bit. The new card was 2001. And now we broke down into what we're looking at. We're looking at different areas. We're looking at PPE. We're looking at body position movements, ergonomics, tools and equipment, environmental factors, planning and permit. And now we also have a spot on here that says, did you communicate with the one you're observing? So this was the new card. This was to give us more information that we could work with. So then we still didn't have exactly everything they were looking for. So in 2004, 3 years later, the new card. The new card now gave you a chance to actually rate all the safe or at risk. And now you could 1 through 5 rate them. And basically that's what was changed on the card. Basically the rest of the card stayed the same, but they wanted to be able to rate the areas. Recently the new card came out, and now we did away with the rating, and now it's either safe or at risk. Also they wanted to add on the back, if it's at risk, why is it at risk? Also, what would it take to correct the problem? And also at the very bottom, they want you to fill out how you could get hurt if it's at risk. What I found by going through the cards is most of the time, the person that fills out the card and fills out the back, most of the time they already have a pretty good idea of what it would take to fix the problem. So usually you can pretty well go what's on the back. You look on the back and say, well, whatever he needs, that he's already pretty well researched the problem, and we usually give you some pretty good ideas as to how to correct the problem. As a safety team member, we do it, of course we encourage everyone in the field to fill out partners cards. It's not unusual. There's no limit on how many partners cards you can do. It's not unusual to get 25 cards per person per month. That's not unusual. On an average, this year, we're getting about 4,000 cards a month, and that's 70%, a little over 70% meal-wide participation. Our goal is 5,000 cards a month, and I believe it's at 90%. The SST team members in their respected area all have boxes. We have boxes that have completed cards and also for the blank cards. And we do a tour through the meal when we go through the meal, and we pick up the cards and we bring them back. We get them back. We now have a scanner. We can scan it through the card. We scan the cards through the scanner, get all the information we need, including the observer and what was at risk and all. When we do that, then we carry them to the lead team meeting. So I think it's really important for everybody to realize in the meal that your card's not just a card, and when you get through with it, it's thrown in the corner. It actually goes before the lead team. So anything that's on the partner's card will go through the management at the meal. And anything that's on the back that's at risk will be discussed. And I try to always, if it's my department, try to always give feedback to whoever did the card on what came out of the lead team meeting. If whatever they decided or whatever they talked about, or just at least let them know your card's been read and they are working on it. We try to promote the partners cards with, I know we do a weekly safety meeting, and I always start off by saying, well, this is how many safe days you have, and this is what your partners cards are for the month, and just, I thank them for the cards and just, tell them to keep up the good work. Also during the month, I always try to keep them updated as to where their partners cards are for the shift, so I do a shift printout and put in their mailbox to let them know where they're at. The company does encourage you with a program. They will allow you 2 points per card, up to 6 cards per month, and then you can take these points and cash them in the catalog. There's a program set up on the computer now that each individual in the mill can go in and look at their rewards program. Also, there's a program that if each individual shift does 100% for 3 months, then the mill will buy them a lunch. Will partners cards keep you safe by themselves? I mean, we like to think yes, probably not, but we like to encourage the fact that when you do these partners cards, now there's 2 eyes looking at the job. And we like to think that part of it. Also, anytime you see a partner's card or someone filling out a card, it's always makes safety flash in your mind. So we like to think, yes, it will make a difference. It's one of the many tools we have in the safety program. And I'd like to end by reading what's on the front of our card. It says, safety, everyone, every way, and every day. Thank you. And now I'd like to end by giving anyone a chance to ask some questions. Yes?
Yes, you have a good employee participation.
It runs about 70%, 72%. But yes, like I say, since the first of the year, we've been running a little over 4,000 cards a month. So yes, right now it is. And like I say, it's just promoting and, trying to keep people going. But yes, I think we do.
Let me ask you, on this new incentive program, are employees buying onto that pretty much so, or?
We caught a lot of feedback really when it started on the new catalog system. But if you look at the numbers, I know our numbers last year were running like 2,900 a month or something. It's jumped up to 4,000. But yes, we have caught some flack as far as the catalog, but the cards are up. So I think maybe the cards tell the tale on that. Yes.
Jim, you made a statement that you read the back of these cards and you take those to the lead team and they look at them as well. After the lead team view these cards, what happens then with whatever was written on the back, the situation or problem at hand?
Well, normally if it's something simple that I can handle, usually I'll just get with my lead team and say, hey, like if it's a light out or something, I'll say, hey, I can take care of that, let me have that. But if it's something that's going to require maybe some engineering or something, then he'll keep the card, but I will go back to the person and say, hey, your card's been read, they are looking at it, and they know what's going on. Any more questions? Billy?
Jimmy, what does partners stand for? I know you said it earlier, but could you refresh us on that?
Yes, partner stands for people accepting responsibility to neutralize errors regarding safety. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Vance Thornton, and this morning I will be talking to you about 5S. 5S is really simply a Japanese concept for housekeeping. 5S is a methodology for organizing, cleaning, developing, and sustaining a productive work environment. I've got some points. I gave you some handouts. I want you to go along these points with me, and if you can answer yes to any of these, you probably need a 5S program implemented in your workplace. Is space crowded with parts and tools? Probably. Unneeded items are stacked between workers. Excess inventory on the floor. You've got excess items and machines make it difficult to improve the process flow. Equipment is dirty and the collection point for miscellaneous materials. Needed equipment such as tools are difficult to find. If you can answer yes to any of those, that's the reason for 5S implementation at your facility. And these are signs that your facility may be in need of a 5S program. The key to a successful implementation, developing self-directed employees based on this fact will take a team-focused approach when developing and implementing a 5S program at your facility. Team-based activities result in improved pride and ownership within the workplace. When people feel their thoughts and ideas are truly valued, they are willing to apply themselves to activities that will improve their performance as well as that of the company. And what we'll do, we'll go through the 5 S's and explain what they really mean. Behind me, I've got on this flip chart, we'll start with number 1, which is sort. Now, sort means to get rid of clutter. Separate what is needed and what is not needed. Throw away. You can probably find a lot of things that's been in the workplace for a long period of time that's not being used. Just take that, just get rid of it and put things in order. Second, we'll go set in order. Organize the work area. Make it easy to find what is needed and proper arrangement of things. And you can probably think of 100 things that need to be put in place. Whether it's this broom over here that's out of order, put it where it needs to go. Arrange things, set them in order. Then we'll come to shine. Clean the work area, make it shine. Keep things clean. Your tools, you can imagine mechanics on jobs, working with oil and fluids, and probably the tools have got oil on them when they finish doing the job. Take those tools and shine them up, clean them up before you put them back into place. And just, you can think of a lot of things that perhaps needs to be cleaned up after the job is completed. Then we'll come to standardize. Standardize, establish a schedule and methods of performing the cleaning and sorting process. Perpetual cleaning, that means continuous cleaning all the time. And there are groups that are set up for different areas to keep certain areas clean at all time. And that way you don't run into people running over each other, you think about cleaning a place up, the whole area. You look at that and it's kind of a turnoff. But if you just got a certain place to keep clean yourself, it makes it a lot easier with everybody working together and just taking a part and keeping the process flowing. Then we've got sustain. That's to implement mechanisms to sustain the gains through involvement of people. Integration into the performance measurement system, discipline, and recognition. Instill pride so employees will maintain good attitudes about 5S. And it's a proven fact. I've got some examples on those handouts I given you about the die storage rack, organized supply chart, and the tool shadow board. You can see those tools, they're all where they need to be. Everything is arranged in a neat order. You can go right and get the tool you need without having to scramble and search through the whole toolbox. And that goes for anything. And even your dumpsters need to be organized, and they need to be in an allocated place for them with the proper labels on them. And you'll find that in 5S, that organization is the main key to making that process work. And I probably would not be out of order if I said that we could probably do some 5S'ing at our place of residence. I know that my utility building, it needs 5S'ing. So once we become focused and sincere about 5S, we can make a big impact on housekeeping, on the job, and elsewhere. It's just a proven fact. Organized and clean workplace is a safer workplace. So it takes everyone's input and everyone working together to keep the workplace organized and in a clean order. I thank you for your attention, and I ask you if there are any questions at this time. Yes.
Vance, are there any areas in the mill that we could go look at that has started the 5S program that we could see as an example?
Yes, that's a good question, Tweeter. We've started in our tow motor shop. That was the first area that started the 5S program, and they've got a perfect area down there for us to go down and look at. They've got lines painted with all the tools and everything in their proper places, and it was a good starting point, and other areas have followed their examples. Larry?
Yeah, you mentioned tube shadow board, that you can look at this board and see all your tubes. And suppose a person goes and get one or two of those tubes out of there and go and takes care of a job. When he comes back, if somebody else has gotten tubes off, how do you know where they go?
Well, they should have labels on them, Larry, that say, well, crescent wrench here, or hammer here, or just whatever. They need to be identified as to what tool goes where.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Jimmy.
Is all the employees kind of buying in on this pretty good?
That's a good question, Jimmy. Yes, and we'll find in each area we've got champions, and those champions are the ones that's kind of spearheading the program. And at first, it was kind of like, people didn't buy on to it, but once they starting to see results and the effects of a clean work area, yes, they're buying on to it.
The dye, oh, sorry.
Oh, Larry?
Yeah, the dye storage rack. Is that something that's unique to one area? Because I'm kind of lost on the dye.
Well, these are examples, Larry, to show you how an organized place would look and when everything is in order. And those areas that's pertinent to, like the lab or something, yes, that would be. All areas it wouldn't be. All right, and thank you for your attention, and let's everyone jump on board with the 5S.